Hi guys, today I would like to give you a little bit of feedback on a reel that I've been reviewing for the past year. It's nice and cold outside and there's a couple of guys at the water, but I'm sitting inside and I'm not even in the studio. I'm sitting here in my lounge, nice in front of the heater and getting some work done. So the Daiwa Emblem BR 25A is the reel that I've been fishing with for the last year on a long-term review basis. So I have a few of these and I've been fishing them quite hard on both my bank angling as well as feeder applications. Okay, so let's just run through the reel. So this is the new one that I just received. These have been doing service for a year now and they need to go in for a service. I just took them out after fishing for the past weekend. They're not even cleaned yet, so I'm going to clean it now and then send them off to be serviced at Kingfisher. So but while they're away I needed some replacement. I needed a few more in any case, so I don't have to move them all the time between my bank angling and feeder gear. I can leave them on either. Okay, so the 25A is a bite and run. The BR is a bite and run. That means it's got a normal bite and run system, or bait runner system as the guys know it, although that's a trademarked term. So it's the bite and run, clip it back, and then it is on a bait feeder type of drag, and it is set at the back. So it's less and more. Now what is nice about it, it doesn't have a lot of travel. So I can go from almost completely loose, very loose, to quite tight in just half a turn. And you can obviously turn it further, but you need to find your sweet spot with that. And then on the front drag, now with this specific system, the rear drag or the bait feeder system is on the rear one, on the axle, but the fighting drag is on the front drag, which has got all the, I can almost say bells and whistles, but all the washers that makes a front drag special in any case. Okay, so it's quite a unique system. It's also, it's not a quick drag, so you can't have few clicks tight, few clicks loose. It's not a drag like that. You have to loosen it quite a few times to get a fighting drag, and then a few times to get it tight to be able to cast. The drag itself has got a 12 kilogram capacity. It's a 12 kilogram drag. That's quite significant. You will never need that type of drag in bank angling, feeder fishing or freshwater. It's a real, I think it's probably a bit of an overkill for this, but it's quite significant. What it then means is that in normal circumstances, and especially for carp fishing, if you use it for that, the drag doesn't work hard at all, not even under extreme conditions. The spool itself, although it is quite a large size spool, being a 660 diameter, it makes it, the fact that this is only 25 centimeters makes it a lightweight and easy to handle. Now I know the carp guys would probably need a little bit of a longer spool for that, and there are other models available, but this makes it quite a nice mid-range. What Daiwa says is that the way that this edge has been designed aids better casting. Now it's difficult if you don't go extreme to really compare that. All I can say is that it's it's quite sufficient for what I need. I have fished some of these fairly empty, and you never felt that there was a drag as you cast. So I think the design in terms of what they claim is pretty valid. It's also nice lightweight spools, and they are available, so I've actually got myself quite a few of these to have in my box with different lines on, especially when I swap over from feeder to bank angling. Now the next thing about this reel is they're talking about an air rotor system. Now the fact that they've cut away quite a lot of that. Now if you look at the entire reel, it's 510 grams, so it's for this type of reel it's quite rigid, and you feel the quality in it. So it's not as lightweight, but at 500 grams it's easy to handle, and it's quite nice in your hand. The air rotor, they've obviously now tried to cut out some unnecessary body mass, but they also did a lot in terms of balancing it. So if you look at it and the way it runs. Now when I use it for especially feeder fishing, long range feeder fishing, and you've got only 10 minutes to get a good amount of feed in the heavy feeding period, I crank this up fast, because I need to cast at least 20 to 30 feeders in that period of time, big feeders at 60 meters plus. So I really need it to be fast. It's got a gear ratio of 5.3, but if you look at the retrieval speed or the retrieval distance, 107 centimeters with one revolution like this gives you 107 centimeters, which makes it quite fast. And I've seen at some of the tournaments, I could actually out retrieve some of the guys sitting next to me because of the speed of this. It doesn't have a double handle, and personally I don't like a double handle. I need a single handle, I need the cranking power, and I need to be able to crank it. So it gives you that cranking power. In terms of the cranking power and the ease of use of this and how easy it runs, there's only one thing that is negative to me about this, and that is the fact that to tighten this handle you need to loosen and tighten here. If you compare it to the likes of the BG or the Saltist, the handle is tightened against itself, so it doesn't need to be tightened here. You just hold it and you can tighten it. It screws against the bolt that actually keeps it. So in that way it never loosens up while you're fishing. Now this tends to loosen up a bit, so you need to tighten it completely. In terms of that, that's the only negative part that I had, that I think they can improve on a reel like this. They have a lot of features in terms of the gears and digi gear and all those type of things, but I think that all it does, it just makes it easier to use. It makes it better engineered, and I think nowadays that's the type of standard that you need to compete with in the market, and I think they've done it reasonably well. I really like this. What they've also done is that they have a fairly rigid bail arm, but it's hollow, so it's very light. You get that rigid feeling in terms of when you touch it. It's not that thin type of wire, so it's reasonably thick, and it gives you that almost quality feeling and easier to use, and it's very strong, but it's hollow, so it's light. In terms of the drags, I would also like to say that on the bait and run system, in the beginning it is it's quite a nice sound and you could hear it, but after a year's use, and this is why this one needs to go for a service, and I think I might have abused it a little bit, but it's a silent but violent reel at the moment. So I think that they will probably replace that little spring, or maybe it's just worked a little too hard after a year. So out of the 4 reels, there are 2 of them that are now silent, so they need to go in for this service. But they've really worked hard, and the fact that they have got the cranking power, I think, impressed me the most. The other part of a reel that I use extensively and very hard is the line clip. So if I can show it to this camera, the line clip here is spring loaded and it's quite easy to use. Okay, so if you look at that line clip is nicely spring loaded, so it's easy to do. So you can do it either way. You can either do it twice like that, so it's all around, which is what I do for the deeper line. So I might clip it in and turn it around completely, and then with my shallower line, if I fish 2 lines that I need to change with where I mark the line, I will just clip that in like that. Easy to do and quite easy just to clip out when the fish runs. And that is what is important to me. I need to be able just to clip it like that, and it will be out. So that's quite an important feature for me, and I specifically like this one. I could also, when I'm looking for fish, I like to clip my line in 100, 90, 80, 70, so I'll have like 5 or 6 clips in here, and this one can manage it. It's absolutely no problem. I can put a few of them in because it's spring loaded. It's not just a clip, it's a pin that goes right through with a and I can actually show it here. It's a pin that goes right through, and it is spring loaded. So here you can see the spring at the back, and there's quite a lot of travel there. You can do it a few times. Then, in terms of anti-reverse, Daiwa calls it infinite. So it's a directional bearing. So it's a bearing that can only turn in one direction, but it's immediate. So you don't have any play, and you can also, I mean, you can't take it back 1 millimeter. So it's a very good quality directional or one-way bearing. You can see it like that. In terms of fishability, the position of the reverse winding is quite easy to reach. So if you like to work on the back wind, which I do a lot when I'm fishing, so I'll be fishing like this and just keep my pinky on that to keep it, and when the fish runs I will do that. So for that you need it to be pretty close and easy to switch, and it is. So it's nice, quick and easy to switch. So in terms of the spare spools, it's just it doesn't have a clip-off system, but it's easy enough just to take that off, take it out, put in a new spool and tightening it again. That's it, I'm ready to roll. Keep these spares. And that's it. So this one needs to be cleaned and go in, and the next one to be put to good use. So I think the new ones will definitely go on my bank angling gear, and when these come back from service, they will go onto my feeder tackle, especially for the distance fishing and working hard. I have the past weekend, in 3 sessions of 5-6 hours each, I managed to catch over 220 kilogram of carp on these reels. and they really did well. Well, that's it. So now you know a little bit more about the Daiwa Emblem BR 25A, real quality, real.